So if you see this thumbnail, you already know what it is. Okay? Last night, Tory dropped his album, Peterson. Pardon me, everybody. Let me get positioned and sit out because I had to get the camera right. I'm doing a private live so I can go ahead and have this out already for you today because I know the algorithm is going to be buzzing now that the project is out. Um, there were listening parties, multiple listening parties. He did not hold back, baby. When I tell you, he said what he needed to say. He threw the rocks he needed to throw, and he didn't hide one hand. He gave shout outs, special mentions that were not expected. And it made me think maybe part of the reason for um, Meg getting the restraining order was also to see if she can get the judge to enact a possible gag order. But the judge only gave her, the restraint for the physical distance. Because had she have been able to reactivate the gag order, this album couldn't have come out. Just a thought. Now, as far as my opinion of the album, this, if you didn't believe in Tory's talent and his ability, this definitely, locked him in. You can't deny who he is after listening to this project. Whether you like the subject matter or not, doing more with less is an understatement here. To think that he's on recorded phone calls, locked up, and he some of the stuff he was saying on the album was so recent that it's like he just stopped recording stuff this week. Like he was addressing stuff that had just happened this year, okay? Like a couple of weeks ago. So to the final touches were put on this album, he was still recording. So that's saying a lot about his work ethic when you look at he's in prison and he pushed it to the limit all the way until this album was dropped. It was released rather. Um, I don't know the numbers yet. Pardon me, everybody. Cutting off my ringer just in case somebody won't call me early and disrupt me. I don't know the numbers yet on this album as far as what it's projected to place, what it's projected to sell, what his numbers look like. But I will tell you this: I saw nothing but rave reviews, and it's this was just last night. So I'm up early this morning. I got up, made my coffee, figured I'd sit at the table and tap in because this was just a wow moment. Like I said, there were watch parties, there were live parties, listening parties. One was with Milagro. Another one was with Wallow and Gilly and Wallow, however they put those names together. And it it got a lot of traction. It got a lot of attention. And when I clicked on the Wallow and Gilly and Wallow show, the comment section was very consistent with Free Tory. I was waiting for the trolls to pull up. I was waiting for people to, to just say ugly things because, it's been a 5-year journey since this has happened. People feel very strongly. To my surprise, I didn't see that. All right, drink my go-go juice and let's get to it, y'all, because it's very early and I ain't no morning person like that. So, I'm working on it. Let me find a deck. And we are going to get off into some things. And thank you in advance for whoever is up when I make this public. I hope you enjoy it. So, alrighty. We're going to do the Tarot with Dreams. Y'all know I love my Cyril Marchetti. And we're going to look at several things. I want to look at the culture, how they're looking at this album. I want to tap into how his legal team feels about this album. I want to tap into how his opposition legal team is looking at this album. So, without any further ado, I thank y'all for being patient with me. But let's get down to business. So, let's see how this album is touching the culture. What does the culture feel about this album, Peterson? Okay, so wow. First card out is the Three of Swords, Heartbreak. Under the deck, Seven of Swords. So there's some very, very strong emotions. I mean, very strong emotions about things that were said in this album. Excuse me. Let's tap into the heartbreak around it. Why is heartbreak what leads the reading? Okay, so I'm asking about the culture, but it looks like there's going to be an end to a lot of the opposition that is against Tory, because as you can see, the Seven of Swords represents a person who is standing up for themselves, defending themselves, and it when death falls in front of it, somebody wanted to bring his ability to defend his name and to stand up for himself to an end. They wanted to stop that by all means, and they felt like this was supposed to stop because he was locked up. But if you pay attention to this card, okay, let me see. Okay, I want to make sure y'all see this directly. You pay attention to this card. This person is locked up, but this door is open. So it's only a matter of time before this person opens their eyes and realizes they can walk out this door. This devil can no longer bind this person. So now that this album is dropped and the movement to try to silence him from defending himself didn't work, you got heartbreak here about how things came to an end in the case. So this is stirring up a lot of think pieces. And people are going to be on both sides of the table. And it can get really, really spicy from here, because this tapped into a pulse. And it's like a rocky roller coaster, because you don't know how much of a nosedive a situation can take sometimes until you're in it. So you got the Hermit here, okay? And the Hermit represents, someone going through a time of ascension, someone that's alone, someone who could be locked up, okay? And they're separated and severing ties from everyone, or things have been taken from them. But the journey that the Hermit is taking, because it's a journey of self-discovery and self-reflection, this is the type of journey that no one can take with you, because you're discovering who you are. So he's understanding that this road that he took with him being locked up was a road, on the back end, looking back on it. And this may be once he gets home, because I mean, hell, if I wake up and see that a iron slab door or some bars are still there, it's going to be kind of hard to be this objective. But still, um, he may realize that him going to jail actually was where he needed to be when it was all said and done, not because of what happened that night on the street, but because he needed to tap in with the inner God body energy that's supposed to be emitting from him. So when you got the Ace of Coins here at the bottom of the deck with the Hermit on the table, it's letting me know that, he may have want to collaborate with multiple people on this album, and a lot of people, turned him down. Um, he had to push through this alone. He didn't have much cooperation because, once again, it was meant for him to take this journey alone. It was meant for him to just, him and God to go at this, I want to say shoulder to shoulder, like God needed him to get in the huddle. He was the only one that could run the play. It was just, shout out to Nas, it was written. It was like it was written. It had to happen the way that it happened for things to happen the way that they're going to happen. Yeah, so the Wounded Warrior, next card out. That's the card of tenacity. It's like, somebody who gets knocked down 9 and gets up 10. You can't stop a person that won't quit, that won't give up. So he was expected to just go in there and wither away, okay? And he just kept fighting and fighting and fighting and pushing through. And that's where the upside of this card comes in, because the Wounded Warrior goes to battle over and over and over again. They never stop fighting, and that's how they eventually win the war. So it's like, I may have lost a battle or two, but I'm going to win the war. You know, process had been slowed down. Things happened to slow down. Putting this album out, me getting, things done legally. Everything was drawn out. So it's like this album was probably supposed to be out last year if he had had his way. But like I said, in divine order, in divine timing, God had a plan. He did what needed to be done for that time period. So if he feels like things were pushed back and, people manipulating things had him behind his schedule, it's not that you're behind schedule or anything was behind schedule. God slowed it down on purpose because he needed certain things to be in alignment before this album dropped. Yeah, 8 of Cups. So we definitely can't ignore this elephant in the room. Queen of Wands, whenever I read Megan, she comes out as 2 separate cards. The Queen of Wands, because it's the card of the fire element, represents the persona, the hot girl. The Queen of Swords, which represents air and communication, represents her as the person. She's an air sign. She's an orator. She, has to, be a wordsmith for what it is that she does for a living. So he talks about the situation walking away from the hot girl. So he's no longer handling this situation with kid gloves. And baby, we figured that out last night. No more Mr. Nice Guy. If you've been rocking with me for a while, I told y'all this was going to happen. And when he decided to go no more Mr. Nice Guy, things were going to go left real fast. So expect things to start picking up in this situation. and moving in a very progressive way, because he needed to let go. He needed to release the situation. He needed to grow. It was things that he needed to correct about himself. And all those things had to happen for him to be in alignment before he could even contemplate coming home. It wasn't about him coming home. He was going to come home, but there was things that he needed to do. Yeah, Palace of Cups. So when it's all said and done, even though, you know, what he said can be considered argumentative, it can be considered aggressive, it can be considered inflammatory, as far as the culture is concerned, Palace of Cups. The industry loves this album. It's actually like what this feels like is like a guilty pleasure. So there may be some people who purchase this album who won't admit that they purchased this album. And they do what Millie Jackson said y'all used to do back in the day, purchase my album and then had it in the back so your company don't know that you listen to this type of music. But still in all, whether they admit to it or not, this is looking like, you know, a lot of people are walking away from what they traditionally thought, or they're going through mental and emotional battles. It's really separating the heart from the mind, and your personal experiences from someone else's experience, and looking at it for what it is. And this is going to, you talking about Crash Out Central. Um, the feminism and MGTOW community are going to blow a gasket over this when it's all said and done. Whew, that's all I can say. Um, Also, certain karmic cycles had to be cleared and closed out before Tory could come home. So there was a lot of things that he had to experience so that he can understand the vantage point on all sides of the table. Things that he may have done in the past that were not, you know, its best. He had to see it from the other side of the table. So if he's wronged somebody, he got wronged in a way to where it made him think about what he did to the other person or another person. It made him more mindful about how he decides to show up in life. And it looks like, you know, now that he's getting to the core of that energy and he's truly understanding, you know, the laws of reciprocity, is getting him closer to where he needs to be so that he can be in alignment to come home. Now, also, with this Eight of Cups, you've got a huge moon here. And it looks like people are running, honey. They're ducking, they're hiding. You know, this is not a drill. This is the real thing. He aired out some things in his body of work that were not expected to be said publicly. Um, he challenged some people's credibility and motives and why they did certain things in ways to where they are scrambling today, because just the little bit of what he said is going to evoke the exposure of so many things, very, very large secrets, because the moon always represents what you don't see. You never focus on the part of the moon you can see, because the moon is two-faced. It has two sides. The moon will always show you one thing while hiding another. So even though he dropped that information in his music, it's so much bigger than what he said, but it's big enough to send these people running for the hills. So it's more information to come. This baby, when I tell you this is gonna be saucy and salacious, this what he told in that album is just a hair, okay? Like, this is just one piece of straw while you're trying to find the needle in the haystack. He just let these people know, I know where the needle really is in the haystack. They never thought that he would be able to figure this out. It was supposed to be so far above him that this was never even supposed to get out. It's some people that could be involved in some things with him that caused some things to happen to him that still don't know what he just said on this album. So, goodness gracious. Yeah. And this is the thing. These people are nervous because he rocked their stability. Um, Now, remember I said he had to learn about the laws of reciprocity. What goes up must come down, just like, the laws of relativity. What goes around comes around. Equal and opposite force, inertia. So he's learning this about energy. And what was done to him is now done unto them. So now he's flipped everything on his axis. And remember, he when he gave that shout out to Chris Brown, and he said, I was talking to all my industry friends. This happened. I'm not from this country, so my money was tied up in another country. And I was just asking if somebody could help me until I could get access to my money. Now, that's crazy that he couldn't even get access to his money to fight this case because of the way that things boiled down. And he's saying the only person that helped him and didn't think anything of it was like, just get back at me when you get it, was Chris Brown. Chris didn't know how long Tory was going to do. He didn't know how long the sentence was going to be. He didn't know any of this. Was he going to do the full time? He didn't even know if Tory would be able to have a way to pay him back when this was all said and done. So from here on out, Chris is a brother. That's a foundational friend. But see, he gave Chris something that changed his life that was greater than any money that Chris ever gave him. So by him sharing the love of God with Chris, him teaching Chris about how to pray, how to center himself, it helped to change Chris's life for the better. And that's why God put it on Chris' heart to, hey, this is just, this is just light work. It ain't nothing. Don't worry about it. So Chris didn't even mention that he was of service in any type of way. He never said anything one way or the other. That speaks about how noble and solid Chris is, because it's been 5 years since everything jumped off, and we've never once in this whole situation, this whole equation, even known until Tory said it, that Chris was very pivotal to helping him fight this case. So this album unearthed a lot of information that the public is sifting through right now. People are trying to process. People are trying to see how they feel about what they're processing. It's a lot. It's a whole lot. Um, People are going to talk about it in the algorithm, but I will tell you this. I got up this morning to see what was going to be the overall reaction in the algorithm, and the responses are coming back a little slower than I expected. Maybe because it's early and people are still uploading their videos from last night. That could be it too. So here it is. He talked about the true nature of things and how things happen. The Knight of Wands, the Nine of Cups. how it was a wish fulfillment for him to be in this carnal energy, to be in and out, Mr. Steal Your Girl, Mr. Hit Your Friend, you know? And in the past, he may have defended this thought behavior, because that's what it is. It's, you know, thought behavior. But he ended up in a position to where he got to see what the other end of this felt like. So imagine, here it is, you're kicking it with Kelsey. You and her are thinking about, you know, how far this can go, but it's early, so, you know, no harm, no foul. But then it comes back to you tenfold, because you get married to your son's mother, and she cheats on you at the worst time possible in your whole entire life. And it's with your friend. And they had been doing this behind your back. So he went through the full, almost, you want to say, like a Saturn return, so to speak. Because all the energy that he put out to get himself in this situation, he got put into situations with life lessons where he had to face these same things until he figured out the energy that I put out is what returns to me. And he's learning that, you know, while he's locked up. This hermit card, the dark night of the soul. This is what needed to happen. Self-reflection. Um, I'm not guilty of what you accuse me of, but I need to be accountable for the things that I did do. Now that I've taken the accountability for the things that I have done, how I got in this situation, what poor decision I made to even be out that night in that type of energy, um, explaining the vibe of that night until things went so far left that they couldn't get back right. He practically put everything in that album to prep and prepare people for this case going back to court. Because any open-ended questions that people still have now, they have to pay attention to the case and how this plays out in the appellate court to get the true tea on what happened. Now, we know 2024 and the 2025 has been epic with big names going to court. If you've been with me, you've been rocking with me for the last 2 years. I told y'all last year, everybody's going to be in court this year. 2025 is going to have so many people in court. People are going to just be tired of hearing about who's going to court. But the new hustle is going to be to read these transcripts and turn it into, you know, content. So because, you know, this wasn't the nature of where the internet was at the time when this happened, people got a lot of misinformation. Now people have become more savvy. A lot of people have gotten personal Pacer accounts, so they can pull any federal records or anything that's in a certain type of jurisdiction. Everybody is pulling the paperwork themselves. So it's going to be a different commentary this time, because we had to wait for someone to tell us what was said in court. This time around, all the documents from court are being unearthed for people to go through them, to study, and to know what's going on, and then to be prepared if there's another court case. And this time around, the public will be keyed in. They will be watching. And that's going to make this epic. He literally just made the soundtrack of the appellate court. Because everybody's going to be waiting to see what the appellate court says, because they want the tea. They want to know. And what they didn't expect is during this dark night of the soul, while he's locked up, he ended up hitting the lick. Meaning, he put out Daystar. Now he's putting out Peterson. Like, his music is breaking records. Like I said, I don't know the numbers as of yet on Peterson because it just dropped last night. But Daystar broke streaming records independent while he was in jail. It was like 1 billion streams. It was something crazy, and it was in 0 playlists recommended by Spotify, which means you had to type it in, search for it, go find it, and listen to it. That's a lot of power in your fan base. That from jail you can have people type something in, go look for it, pull it up, find it to stream it with no advertisement, no attachment to anything that would let people know it's out. Like, anybody else would have bombed because it's like, oh, he put out an album while he in jail. I didn't even hear about it. I didn't know nothing about it. And only a couple people knew about it. So, the Wounded Warrior falling over the Three of Cups. That's saying some interesting things because it's like he speaks about, the kickback, because, they say it's not a party, y'all. He speaks about, his feelings about the kickback that night, how somebody made him feel, what actually led up before there was someone who got wounded, and how things got out of control so fast. And then the Eight of Cups, things happened so swiftly, we had to leave. Palace of Cups, everybody was so kind and jovial until this jumped off. So he felt comfortable where he was coming. Everything was cool until it wasn't. And then when it wasn't, it happened very, very swiftly. So this is, where he talked about, he talked to all these different people that are supposed to be his celebrity friends, and people walked away from him when it was time to give or help him get out of this bind. So he did talk about all the industry people that turned their back from him when he needed help the most, Ten of Wands, and it was a burden too heavy for him to carry. How these people walked away from him when he needed support. And that's what this represents with the Eight of Cups to the Six of Coins. They refused to, go into alignment with him, to help him, whether it was to donate money, to support him, to write a letter like, nah, I hate that happened to you, my nigga, but I'm straight, I'm cool, I'm good, I'm Gucci, right? And they may have genuinely felt how they felt, but being that entertainment doesn't make the money that it used to make, people were just afraid. They were afraid. A lot of these people were just getting their money back up. You got to realize a lot of money was lost due to quarantine. So these people were like, listen, I already lost enough money during quarantine. I got to get my bag up. I can't afford to not be able to work because I'm supporting you. Now, they chose a side. So since they picked and they chose their side, Tory's like, stay on that side. And I get it. I feel them. Don't come back after I completed my victory lap to celebrate with me in the winner's circle, because where were you when I had to run this whole entire mile by myself? There was very few people that would help carry and pass the baton to help me run this race. Now, the Palace of Cups also represents the outlook and the way the people feel that are locked up with Tory and around Tory. He actually comes off very loved, someone who's respected, somebody that's cool, like people like, oh, he's cool people. So expect people that were locked up with Tory to pop up and either open up their own podcast or to do interviews about their life experience while being locked up with Tory Lanez. And for the most part, I don't see where it's going to be unfavorable. It's almost going to be like the new clout chase. Like, that's my dog. He was cool. I looked out for him. I let him get X, Y, and Z when they was messing with him. He would tell me about, his ideas and what he wanted to do with the music. He encouraged me to do music. Like, expect these interviews. So it looks like his energy is very favorable. Even if he had problems in the beginning, of course, it's prison, right? Somebody gonna test you, somebody gonna try you. But more than most, it's like everybody wants to work with him. Everybody wants to collab with him. And that was a backfire. Okay? They turned the industry against him. They couldn't get anybody in the industry to support him. But the goons, the goblins, the goony goo goons, okay? The people that they threw him in there with, who they thought would probably tear him to shreds by now and eat him up whole and spit out the bones, ended up wanting to work with him. So now he becomes like Daniel in the lion's den. Remember the biblical story with Daniel in the lion's den? They put Daniel in there with the lions when they were hungry, which is the worst time ever you can put somebody around a wolf pack or something like that. They're hungry. They're going to rip you to shreds instantly. It feels like that may have been the intention, but in that story, one of the greatest parts of that story is that they kept coming back to check. Daniel in there kicking it. He taking naps. The lions are taking naps. They had to go and see if somebody fed them because the lions had become docile and some of them became polite. They just couldn't understand it. Like, they should have got them by now. End of the story. Daniel walks out of the lion's den. He's made friends with the lions. The lions have not touched Daniel. He may have had one that was a little disgruntled. But even that lion said it's better to rock with you than against you. So he's built some foundational relationships, or he's imprinted his energy on a lot of these people in this facility and in other facilities, because prison has its own gossip pipeline. So his album feels like a win for the cell block, because he's one of them and he's fighting back. He's fighting the establishment, whether it's what they think is the system, reforming the system, or he's fighting against the entertainment system. He's become the union rep of the Lions Den. Another unexpected turn. So it looks like the prisoners, they love the album, they love the idea. It gave them hope for how they can turn their lives around and the things that they can do while they're in there to better themselves. It looks like the industry loves this album. There are a lot of people who are afraid to speak on this album because they don't know what to say, because it's so touch and go right now, to where people are like, I don't want to be on the wrong side of right, but I don't want to mess up my career. But something is different about now than back then. I can't put my finger on it, but it's a change in the winds. So now that we got them out the way, I'm going to change my deck to change the energy. It's like this was a backfire for somebody, because they just knew this situation was going to break him. He was going to be done. He was going to be quiet. He was going to waste away. He was going to be an example. And he ended up being exemplar. What's the word? Y'all, it's too early and my public school is not working. Uh, exemplary. There we go. There we go. I just needed a kickstart. So he ended up surpassing anything that they felt that he could, bring to the table. So this definitely did not work out the way that, it was expected to. And it feels like this has been done before. So, you know, somebody may have had a high record of success involved in this situation, and they've been doing this for years, getting away with stuff for years, and they've never been called to the table publicly and humiliated until now. Shawn Holley for sure. I know she got to be over there shitting bricks. Because how do you explain this? Especially if there's another complaint of the same behavior. How do you explain this? Because this looks like you have the propensity to throw cases on purpose. That's what your real job could possibly be, allegedly. So this is going to have some people having to answer questions before the Bar Association, God, and whoever else. Um, Speaking of Shawn Holley, hold on. Let's tap into the energy around how Shawn Holley feels now that DAYSTAR Peterson decided to use Tory LANEZ to expose her. Oh, Lord. So how does Shawn Holley feel about the voicemail being played on this album and the accusations made by Tory LANEZ? Show me the energy around Shawn Holley today. Yeah, Knight of Wands. It's like her intention was to be in and out. And notice, this is a performer. This is a rock star. This is an entertainment industry. So it feels like her energy was to be in and out of this case. She was supposed to get in, get out, smooth criminal, right? Allegedly. King of Cups. So she may remain quiet, you know, while, you know, all of this is kicking up a ruckus, but she feels very deeply. And I want you, you know, you ought to realize this is a vampire deck. So, you know, here it is. This man has this fine decanter. And remember what I told y'all about moons. There's a heavy moon behind his head. Now, she functions in masculine energy. So, being that it's a male character doesn't take away from this being her energy. This is a bloodsucker. Okay? This is someone who lives off of the blood of others, survives off of the blood of others. So, here it is. This is some high level blood because it's in a decanter. They thought enough of whoever the donor was to put this in a fancy decanter. This is for special occasions. So this means that he may have been the highest profile person that she may have done this to. Or this is the type of person that she works for and she's adapted to the vampire coven that she's a part of. But this is a high level, high ranking bloodsucker. So the sacrifice over Tory, his life, the destiny swap, whatever you want to call it. This was for the greater good of some very, very powerful people. And it feels like, unbeknownst to Tory at the time, somebody gave the go here. That's why this chalice is being held up. They gave the go, the thumbs up, for her to come in and out with this entertainer. And see, here's another moon, which is another veiled intention coming in and out. Here's another moon. Okay, so you can only see half of the moon here, which means she presented herself, but not her true intention. But the true intent behind why she represented him is behind this leader of the bloodsuckers, okay? Now, after this happened, here's the Ten of Wands. Because let's remember, he got into a situation where it went left between two women. So you have this man here who is trying to protect or to transport a person that's been injured, okay? And this person's wings are invisible, meaning their mode of transportation, how they are trying to get this person from point A to point B, is under the radar. So had there have not been, you know, a mode of transportation that could have been taken at night to get whoever was injured from point A to point B without being seen, this was like the plan. Let's get you some help. Let's get you somewhere to be taken care of. You know, let's fly under the radar, get this handled. So it feels like he was trying to run point. And after this happened, he was still protecting both sides, because the end result was to, okay, let's do it, whatever we need to do to take care of the person that's been injured, sort out everything afterwards. This is messed up, but let's prioritize how we're going to handle this. You're injured. That has to be taken care of first. Everything else falls in place. And this is so weird. Now, for those of you who are not into vampires and folklore on vampires and spiritual abilities of vampires, because vampires are children of darkness, you have natural born vampires that are born of the dead, which would more so be like this one, which would mean this person is definitely not like this person, because this person was born of the night. They could never walk with the daywalkers. Follow me with this. Now, see where this person is. Wherever this person is, this is opulent. This looks like a solarium. Yes, yes, yes. I use that word. This looks like a solarium back here, which would be a sitting room, a sunroom, right? Has a dome on it. Look at this wood, the craftsmanship of this wood. This is old money. This is somebody that has been around for a very long time. This type of architecture has been around for generations, just like this person. So if you look at, let's say the vampire is the system, it's the industry. Been around for a very, very long time. Built on some very unscrupulous rules and energy, right? Whoever this is goes way up the food chain. They've been rooted in this industry for a very long time. They're one of the cornerstones. And it feels like this is who she may have received her direct messages, or her prime directive of what she was supposed to do to be in and out. And then after she got that prime directive, it was for her to cut ties. This is the death card. Remember, I said these are bloodsuckers. You got everything that you need to get out of him. You know, he's not going to let us turn him into one of us. So we're going to just siphon everything we need out of him, aka the decanter with his blood, and you toss him out, leave him for dead, right? And this was her ships coming in. This was her opportunity. Because remember, look at this pale individual that, you know, she's here with, these incense. Okay, incense also represents clearing and clarification or clarifying energy, or you can use incense to to prepare a space for a ritual. Okay? So as you can see, this person looks like they haven't had a lick of sun in years. She could be just like him, but she appears to be human, just like this rock star here, where she was supposed to be in and out. Now, this is one of those, with bumps in the night type situations, because this person can't be seen out in the light of day. So she has to meet this person at their request when they decide to deal with her, when they decide to talk to her, because this person can't be seen. They can't be caught up in what's going on. But this appeared to be a very, very large opportunity for her, allegedly. Three of Wands is like your ships coming in. Also, that's a card for me that represents trafficking. So keep that in mind. Where is this going? Page of Swords. Page of Swords represents surveillance. Now, that means that this happened with the whole world watching. Yes, the album came out. We all, all of us who listen, we heard it. It's salacious. This is going to go in sound bites, and it's going to go off into content all around the world. Yes, we know that, right? But what this means is, now see how this moon work? Half moon here, all the way back here behind the stage. He couldn't see what was really going on behind the scenes. He's focusing on working, performing, getting out here doing what he needs to do. But there's all types of chaos going around in what he thought was organized. Now the organized chaos, he's realizing where it really came from. Now he knows who the real bloodsuckers are, who's really behind this full moon, the other side of the moon that he didn't see. Now he's realizing how he actually got chosen, how he got picked, how he got bit in the first place. And he's exposing this person for the world to see. Ace of Swords at the bottom of the deck with the truth. So now the eye is on Shawn Holley. I'm channeling music. I don't know where this song came from because it's not something I listen to, but it's Some Like It Hot. Let me look at the lyrics of that, because it's always a message for me. When I get lyrics. And this is an old song. Hold up. I didn't know this is where the song "You Can Knock Me Over with a Feather" came from. Oh, this is from a Broadway cast recording. Something different. Okay. Let's see. Robert Palmer. Let's see, is this you? Hold on. Hold on. I don't want to get a strike for playing somebody's music, so give me a second, y'all. Yes, this is it. It's Robert Palmer. Okay. There we go. So this was the group, I believe, let's see, Robert Palmer Essentials. Some Like It Hot. Okay, now I can go to the lyrics. We want to multiply. Are you going to do it? I know you qualify. Are you going to do it? Y'all, I've never read the lyrics to this song ever before. So I want y'all to see what I'm seeing, because my angels channel a lot of music. You see this? We want to multiply. Are you going to do it? I know you qualify. Are you going to do it? Don't be so circumscribed. Are you going to do it? Just get yourself untied. Are you going to do it? Feel the heat pushing you to decide. Feel the heat burning you up, ready or not. Some like it hot, some sweat when the heat is on. Some feel the heat and decide that they can't go on. Some like it hot, but you can't tell how hot till you try. Some like it hot, so let's turn up the heat until we fry. The girl is at your side. Are you gonna do it? She wants to be your bride. Are you gonna do it? She wants to multiply. Are you gonna do it? I know you won't be satisfied until you do it. Feel the heat pushing you to decide. Feel the heat burning you up, ready or not. Some like it hot, some sweat when the heat is on. Some feel the heat and decide they can't go on. Some like it hot, but you can't tell how hot until you try. So, looks like karma is screaming loud. Some like it hot, so let's turn up until we fry. So at this point, you've already put Tory in a position where he had to be able to tolerate how hot it was in the kitchen. Turn it up until you fry. So him being fried was losing his case. And it feels like there was a tug of war. There was a push and pull to get her to make this decision. Not because she hasn't done this before, but because the magnitude of what was attached to this. So now that the shoe is on the other foot, it's getting hot in the kitchen. Can you take the heat? Now that he got the world looking at her, can she handle being scrutinized, rejected, downtrodden, and thrown away the way that he was? So thank you to my spirit team for giving me that song, because that's not something I listen to, but those words are definitely applicable to this situation. Because now that the roles are reversed, can you handle it? And I'm going to make sure that everybody knows so that you can't hide. I'm going to turn up the heat on you. So we've got the Hierophant here, and this is how he turned up the heat. You use the law against me, you use the courts against me. How about I have the courts to look over you, and let's see if you come out with your hands clean in court. Let's see how this affects your stability. Let's see how you like being trapped, stuck in a cage. The very thing that gave her stability is now caging her in. Now look at these individuals. Remember, I told you, these are people who have been involved in this for a very long time, these bloodsuckers. Look at how they're standing back, waiting to see what's going to happen to her. So you got the King of Swords. The law is definitely involved, and this is going to a higher court. All of this is going to roll out into a federal situation. And notice, like I said before, pay attention to these moons. Huge moon. So there's some things that are being discussed in secret with law enforcement, and they're epic. Okay? And it's like this rabbit hole runs so deep that they may have considered giving some type of offer to someone to, okay, to protect the order. That, I've been hearing protect the order for the last year and a half for sure. So, the lovers, the choices that you made, the people that you got in bed with, as you can see, the angels are turning away from this situation. This appears to be a pillar, a statue, right? But the angel is allowing you to make this choice, make this decision, because if you roll the dice and make this decision against Daystar, it's going to start a whole catalyst of events. And she didn't even understand. God was using Daystar as the bait. She had to be Judas so that these people, whoever this is, could be exposed. It wouldn't have happened any other way because it's too far up the totem pole to get to somebody like this. This somebody is by regular people's standards, this is somebody that's untouchable. They would have never, ever been able to even been associated with anything, let alone being caught, if it wasn't for Shawn making this decision. This had to happen. And they're going to leave her to handle this. You see how this woman is sitting here playing this piano? And who is she performing for? Now you got this bust here. Busts were things that they created in your honor, in your memory. So this is telling me RIP, whoever she worked for, they're going to cut ties and pretend like they never met her. And she's going to have to sing to save herself. The same option that Tory had is now her option. You can tell everything or keep your mouth shut and get buried. Only difference is Tory didn't know that was his option. But she's going to know that it's hers. Somebody put Snitch Olympics down in the comments. Remember I told y'all about the Snitch Olympics? Yeah. So now somebody wants to be very passionate about telling the truth. And this also shows me that when he worked with her, he told her the truth about this Knight of Wands energy. Like, hey, I was out here, I was dangling, I was out here trying to, mess with somebody's daughter, a couple of them. So he told her the truth about what happened. He let the little head make big head decisions, got into a situation that was out of control because had he have been, thinking, he could have avoided this whole situation because it was just toxic. So that in itself is crazy, that she took the very truth that he told her about everything that happened and used it against him, got in and got out, allegedly. Because she needed to know what he knew so that she could help protect whoever this is. Whoever this Lord Vladimir character is. So you got the Ten of Wands and Justice. Remember what I said. You could have never got to this person without something like this happening, because this person is too, GQ, too low key, too polished. They've been around a very long time. They've been doing this. This, person could also represent an order, a group of people. So they're very, very, they run everything like a well, oiled machine. And they've been doing this for a very long time. So it took something like this to kind of like put a crack in someone's armor. And without that crack in the armor, we wouldn't be where we are today, where the light is starting to be shined in in a place where they're safe in the cover of night. See, the only thing that exposes vampires is light. You bring things to light, you literally take them out of existence. Everything about God is light. So now he's fighting back using his words. Five of wands, excuse me, five of wands. See, they expected him to be in there physically getting beat up. They thought that, you know, one way or the other, you won't be around. You probably won't make it anyway. And if this is to happen while you're in there, you just be a casualty of the system, allegedly. Death. This is how this would end, and someone would possibly be able, because he's, you know, custody ward of the state. Oh, this is going somewhere different. Now, she may not have known this part, but it looks like whoever these people are who gave her orders needed to siphon from him, and they needed him to be there so that he could possibly meet his demise there, and they can get what they needed out of him while he's in there, and they can control the narrative and the information, because it's a controlled environment, because whoever this is might actually be attached to who owns this facility if they don't own it. I didn't get up this early in the morning for a rabbit hole, but we're here. Sips coffee. So you got the Fool here, and you got the Three of Pentacles. And it looks like you have three different branches of law enforcement that could be working together on information that just happened to come out of what feels like thin air. Somebody took a chance on doing a little research, and not only did it pay off, it paid off in such a big way that now they finally get a clear shot to get this Lord Vladimir character. And now, Shawn Holley, here you go. You were afraid that you can go to jail. And look at all these people in this wonderful, luxurious, old school home, the order. Look at them. They got their swords up. They're looking for you, because this was never supposed to be found. This was never supposed to get out. And you don't know how you're going to get out of this, girl. At least without going to jail. Oh, and the way they would treat you, you definitely would not be Daniel in the lion's den. Not after this type of information hit the fan. I bet you would sing and tell everything you know to keep from going to prison, because you know what they would do to you. Yeah, Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups is a very intuitive person, someone that comes off very loving, okay? So look at how comfortable this woman is, laying her head in her lap while she's stroking her head. This is the part to pay attention to. This person is siphoning from this person's conscience while being under the illusion of being a very caring person. We know that this is an illusion because, once again, there's another moon. So you came off very loving, very caring, very highly recommended. But if you look at this fish over here in this container, looks like you've caught, fish and put them in a position before to where they were contained, okay? Apprehended. But you siphoned information through faking kindness from these people to use it against them. So that lets me know that this person here has no idea how this happened. They don't even know about this. They don't know that this is a thing. They don't even know you've been called out for this before. So once again, this also shows me that Tory had to reach within and heal his mother wounds, because it's like, this is how these women are affecting him. This is how people are taking advantage of him. Like sexuality, mother wounds. And they were using these women to attack all of the vulnerable areas in his life. So he had to heal from these things so that he could not be used again in this type of way. Remember, he has to learn his lesson before he can come home. Once he has learned what he needed to learn about healing himself, because this feels like more of what this journey ends up turning out to be for him, is a journey of self-discovery and learning and healing through the dark night of the soul. So it's like he's getting into spiritual AP classes, okay? He's in spiritual college classes, and now he's getting the bigger picture. And because he's getting the bigger picture, the pieces of the puzzle are falling in, and it's way bigger, way more diabolical than he thought. So this is why God had to get him into a space to where he had to humble him. He's like, look, I know you cocky. I made you that way, but I need you to kind of turn that down a bit. Talk to me for a minute so I can show you some things. The Hierophant also represents God. So they use law enforcement, which can be seen as the Hierophant, because the Hierophant can represent an institution or the judicial system. And the judicial system is an institution. So go figure, right? Spiritually, the Hierophant is direct communication from God himself. So when he comes out of jail, he will come out in Hierophant energy. Does that mean he's going to be walking around, eating blades of grass and robes and with his toes out touching grass? No, absolutely not. But it does mean that his spiritual energy is going to be highly elevated. He's going to be so connected to God that God is going to talk to him the way that he talks to his father. And this was really what his journey in life was supposed to be. He comes from a bloodline of Hierophants. His father is a Hierophant. So, because God sat down and made a plan for his life, because Tory was always meant to be the Hierophant in the people's lives that he's around. Even if he doesn't stay in their life, they're supposed to go to God. His experience with these people is always supposed to bring them closer to God. So for him to bring these people closer to God and not to become like them, to not be like them, God had to separate him, because he was either he didn't know that this was the path for his life, or he was getting so far away from the path from his life that God had to just snatch the rug from up under him so he could sit down for a minute and remember who he is, or to understand who he is, to tap in, so to speak. And as soon as he got the bigger picture, lesson learned, everything is over. And now that he's in the Hierophant energy, everything that he's starting to say is going to become what feels like prophetic, okay? So he's giving this direct message, and he's been given permission from the courts, because remember, he doesn't have a gag order. God allowed it that way because God is now using him as one of his mighty trumpets. And the judgment card in tarot, usually in the standard cards, it represents Archangel Gabriel blowing his horn, separating the sinners from the saints. It's the second coming. That's what that card represents. So now his voice is going to be God's trumpet to separate the sinners from the saints. God needed him to be a little rough around the edges, because the people he needs him to talk to possibly wouldn't go to church. They don't believe they belong in church. They've done some stuff where they feel like, God ain't gonna talk to me. I don't think I'm worthy of God talking to me. These were the people that he was created to go talk to. Nine of Wands. This is why his journey is so hard. This is why everything is so heavy. You see how this door is barricaded and she's trying to protect herself while waiting for an impending fight? Knight of Pentacles, things are dragging on. This is the energy that he was in. Now, if you pay attention, yes, this is a woman. So you think about, his lawyer, ex-lawyer, Shawn Holley. This is her now. She's in this energy now. Now she's trying to barricade her door and she's waiting for the onslaught of battles that are to come. And it's dragging and dragging and dragging. Now she wants this to be over. She wants this to hurry up and wrap up. And it won't. It can't. Because it didn't hurry up and wrap up for Daystar. So why should it be quick for you, right? So they're looking very in depth into this situation. King of Swords. Remember, King of Swords, like I said, higher law enforcement, like the feds. Like someone up top got this information, whether it's the state of California, the federal government, maybe the state of California got this information first and then it was passed through the federal government, and then the federal government could have passed it through another bureau, if you catch what I'm saying. Because we got a 3 of coins here on the table, and it's clear that there is some kind of communication and cooperation between multiple levels of law enforcement. As you can see, this looks like, this is a boss woman, okay? So if this is her as a boss woman, and you see this is someone who looks like they're of military stature, this obviously has to be like a field agent over here, because that he got on a nice suit. This is a high-rise office. Baby, this ain't cheap. This is big business right here. And then you got this map here where they've triangulated what they needed to triangulate. So she could be, like I said, singing like a canary to save herself, because she knows she ain't built for this life. Like, I done got old. I'm soft and cushiony and fluffy. I don't need to be in here getting beat up and taken advantage of with configured bars of soap, allegedly. Yeah, 6 of Wands. Now things are going to move on very progressively. And she knows in her intuition how this can turn out, but 10 of Cups. She wanted to be in the winning circle. She thought that these people who she worked for, who she's been doing this for a long time, she thought that they would come back and be her safety net. They have her back. They would save her in this situation. They look like they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Six of Swords. Yep. She wants to get as far away from this chaotic situation as possible. But you see, this is somebody sitting at this dock, sitting at this loading dock. You see this boat over here? That's an opulent boat. That's not a cheap boat. This person is trying to just stow away anything they can do, waiting for the next boat to freedom to come through, to take them out of this toxic, chaotic situation so that they can move forward with their life. This is where she's at. So now it's like the tables are turning, because he's waiting for whatever message he needs to receive from the DOJ to let him know any day now what day he's going to be released from prison. But as he prepares to be released, look at you. Look at your ass. You just hiding. You hoping they don't catch up to you. You didn't expect whoever this was to throw you under the bus. But remember, I told you, this man holds his goblet up in agreement. Like, oh, yeah, oh, her? Okay, yeah, you can have her. I thought you was coming over here. Yeah, take her ass. So now, the same people who made the decision for you to go over here and get in and out and throw him under the bus, they're making the same decision with you. So now to save yourself, How will you save your soul? How will you save your ass? What do you do to get out of it? Do you stand on everything the way Tory did and take your lumps? Or do you tell on everybody like he should have did in the first place and try to avoid any consequences, allegedly? You know, what do you do? You're not street, you're not stuck to a code. The Empress. But see, this is not an Empress because you've mastered yourself. Look, you see this wolf? You see what looks to be like a hawk? Yeah, they're watching you. They're watching how this is going to manifest because in this situation, you're the one who gave birth to this. You brought this into fruition. So once again, that's him over there. Like that, she operated on her own recognizance. We ain't had nothing to do with that. We did not tell her to misrepresent him. You got any proof? Oh, you don't have any proof? Yep, it was all her. This was all her decision. But remember what I said. This angel was only here to take the minutes, okay? To take the record. It had to be recorded for the book of life that this choice, this decision was made. So that the angel can go back and activate judgment. The seals of judgment that were going to unravel everything all were waged on this choice that she made. So had she have just done her job as she was supposed to do, she wouldn't be facing this karma right now, but it's going to have her facing karma for years to come because they're going to want to see every case you ever worked on and how many times you've done this to people. And this is going to be a part of an example for prison reform. Wow. Okay, so let me tap out of this energy because I want to touch several things and then, get out of this reading so I can make this public and y'all can see it and I can get something to eat, y'all, because my stomach is over here punching me. Coffee on an empty stomach is disrespectful. And I don't even drink coffee that often, but hey, it is what it is. So now that we know how the industry feels about this album, we know about how the inmates who are, in the same facility feel about the energy around this project. We looked into the energy around accusations that were hurled at his ex-lawyer, Shawn Holley. Now we can look at how Roc Nation feels allegedly about what was said and how Megan and her legal team feel about what was said. And then we can close this out. So, let me see. What deck are we going to use for Roc Nation? Oh, Megan Cunningham. Hold on. Let me. Hers should be a little quick. We'll do hers with some oracles and then we'll get to everybody else. Because he said he got proof, googly eyes, that you've been getting paid to spin a narrative. And if that is true, that's your whole career as a legal analyst up in smoke because you went very hard for a certain party in this situation. And as a legal analyst, you should be trusted to be unbiased. Now, we know everything is up in the air when it comes to entertainment. People will do anything. But, being that you're a legal analyst, you're supposed to have a line that you won't cross. Megan Cunningham, girl, come on over here and get all googly with us. Show me the energy around Megan Cunningham now that Tory has made some salacious claims about her getting paid to, push propaganda. Okay, so we got the unbothered card. She chilling. Look like she just looking at this. It's like he just popping off. He just talking his shit. child services. Kids are at risk of being taken or is about to be, excuse me. Kids are at risk of being taken or are about to. Reporting something, neglect, abuse. So, reporting, let's stick with the key word here because that's what ties this in together. So, she reported about, these kids who are out here doing the most when all of this happened in the street. So, to her, it's like they would appear to be kids because they're younger than her, not that they're not adults. Okay, got it. Um, Now it's like she's under the radar for how she reported on these kids. And they want to look back through everything that she said because something in her reporting, if it had been more unilateral, would have exposed an impersonator. Bottom of the deck. No facts. Never has the facts. Make shit up, lies. So this is how Tory, allegedly. This is how Tory really feels about her. Um, he feels like, she put out a lot of things that weren't true, that weren't rooted or based in any actual facts. And he feels like she knows this. So it doesn't seem to me like she's really bothered about being exposed. It's almost like she's been waiting. Let's see. It's like she knew this day would come. She's been waiting. An offer. Now, he said that she took an offer to put out propaganda that was rooted in no facts. And it didn't bother her one bit to do it. Forcer, bottom of the deck. Forces things on you, forces their way in, uses force to get what they want. So he knows that someone was forcing a narrative and they gave her an offer to do so, allegedly. Wasting time, stuck, no changes, limited. So, screenshots. Remember what he said, evidence, getting evidence, proof, facts. So she felt like it was a waste of time for people to even accuse her of such said thing. I would, you don't have proof. You need proof. I'm a legal analyst, and I know as a legal analyst to make these type of accusation, nothing matters without the proof. Well, screenshots mean that there's proof. Bad habits. We'll say substances, addictions, and toxicities. Okay. So she's been numbing herself allegedly, possibly with what may be a bad habit, keeping her nose to the gridiron, working and numbing allegedly. And this is why she appears to be unbothered, because I guess she figures her answer will be at the bottom of whatever it is she's doing when she gets done with the bottle. But it just, it's not working that way. Nothing that's happening right now, according to these people, was supposed to happen. Everybody felt like they had the upper hand in this situation. So running, okay. So yeah, he's on her heels, and she's trying to heel step, okay, because now she has to report to someone. She's gonna have to. Oh, I said everybody gonna be in court 2025. This could actually backfire and show that the hate train and the propaganda was actually financed by the other team. And everything that was said about certain people and people taking offers and bribes to do certain things can actually now be proven by the people who made the accusations, allegedly. looking you up, researching you, studying you, getting information. See, this is what she had no idea was going on. This is why it's a surprise to her. It's a shock. Um, First of all, this card is a shock to me. Shout out to Mystic Milan. We got a special relationship with this card. She knows exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about a relationship with this card. We both predicted something and seen something that is attached to this card. And it's crazy that this is coming out attached to Megan Cunningham. What makes this card so significant is not what it says, it's what's on the phone that they're looking up. So it's like, okay, fake flex. Moving on. So it's like she didn't take this serious because she didn't feel like anybody had any way to prove anything. Without proof, it's nothing. It's not against the law if I did take anything. So she may have been trying to soften the blow for a while, prepping people for the time that this was going to come out, because she may have gotten some information allegedly a while ago that this case was taking a turn. And because she is a legal analyst and she talks to people and people talk to her, and there's conversations that us regular folks who don't work in this system may not have or understand, somebody, gave her a leg up on a situation. And that leg up on that situation let her know that the winds of change were coming for Tory. So it looks like she was prepping herself to be more open to being unilateral, because this wasn't going to work out the way they thought it was. And she thought she could just coast. I'll just coast through the situation and kind of step out the side door and sneak away while the calamity is going on. Making an offer. Show me making an offer. How the hell do you get two offer cards back to back? Dirty offer. An offer is offered to you, and it turns out to be a dirty offer. And see, they knew your weakness, always partying. Those look like alcoholic beverages. I don't know. It could be, sparkling apple cider. Who knows? It's a lot of cards. Wasting time and hooked. So somebody was obsessed with dragging this situation out. They needed things to make it, what I'm feeling is a certain deadline. They needed things to make it to a certain deadline, and then they were out of the water. Fake accounts. Fake accounts. Fake social media accounts to spy, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. Yeah, a couple of y'all got that going on right now because y'all don't know what to expect. So it's like they're spying on the smaller media platforms to find out what's going on. Or somebody could have been watching from a fake account during some of these watch parties and listening parties. Love triangle. Yeah, you've been caught up. Your hand been caught in a cookie jar. Third party, multiple lovers or choices. So you are a third party to a situation that he called you out on social media. And like I said, she or parties around her could be operating from fake accounts to try to, check the temperature of the internet and what's going on. So it's like something happened where this bond between her and this third party that she may have been working with fell apart. So whomever may have given her this offer, it does not feel like the association is close anymore. Creativity steals your ideas, copies your work, duplicates and feeds off of you. So this is the energy they may have wanted her to be in the first place. Use her creativity to spin a narrative, to control the damn, this card is powerful, to control the vantage point of the public when it came to a slain man. Now, Tory did not end up having his life taken from him, but he had his destiny stolen from him. George Floyd. They did a lot with the media to try to smear George's name so that people didn't have to pay for what they did to George. But those officers of the law, officers of the court who were involved in this, officers of the law who were involved in this, did end up facing charges. They didn't expect to face charges because everybody who was involved in it scratched everybody's back. They had what appeared to be airtight alibis until they didn't. So when it was all said and done, when it was over, even though George lost his life, George was vindicated. The truth came out. People went to jail. Remember, they wanted us to know about George having bad habits. They wanted us to think that he was unbothered because he had bad habits. So they wanted us to think that George was erratic because he had bad habits, and this is the reason why he didn't comply or do what he was supposed to do, or may have been acting strangely in a peculiar manner because of bad habits. Same thing. They wanted us to think, well, Tory was under the influence. His bad habits caused him to be unbothered, and he ended up doing something that caused the authorities to have to come in and check on the kids because of what was happening when they ended up running away from a catastrophe. But the information that came out had no facts. The story that was told to the public wasn't true. Now people are looking up what was being said, and those people who are look up what was being said, somebody found out about a dirty offer. They found out about an offer, and they found out that somebody accepted a dirty offer. And it's like she knew a long time ago that the cat either was out the bag or was going to be out the bag soon enough. So it's like she dragged her feet and extended this, and pretty much like riding something until the wheels fall off. It's like knowing that it's going to come to an end anyway, being in count your days mode, but not knowing which day is actually going to be your day. Just waking up every day preparing for the bottom to fall out of something. So that's a lot of anxiety. And it's like the bottom finally fell out when he dropped this album, used his creativity, and exposed everything. About, pretty much how he had to be a martyr for you to win. Let me clear these from the table. I'll do a couple out of the Panther Oracle, and then we can move on. I know this is lengthy, but y'all said y'all like my longer ones. So shout out to everybody whose attention span is longer than 15 minutes. I love y'all. Shout out to everybody who's at work watching this, and this is helping you pass through the day. Shout out to whoever is rolled up and enjoying Smoke 30, and that's all you needed. Something to listen to while you do what you do. Give me a few cards that show me the closing energy so I can segue it into the last part of this reading. Imagination. So, compromise, okay? She wanted this to appear like her being compromised is a part of his imagination. He's just making this shit up. He'll say anything, right? You can't trust him. Look at the situation he's in. He'd say anything. He's imagining that I collaborated with someone behind the scenes to conspire against him to cause a natural disaster. This actually was something that really happened. It happened the way I said it, right? Wink, wink. And it needed to happen because I was locked into this commitment. But something happened with this commitment where she started bucking the system. Okay, somebody had a bright idea. That's not always safe. And whatever that idea is, it's like it became overwhelming. You see that overload. So she bit off more than she can chew. She thought that this was going to be an in and out situation. She'd do a fluff piece, possibly was rewarded very handsomely for this. This wasn't supposed to last this long. The trial was supposed to end. The situation was supposed to end. It was all supposed to be over. And she was going to gallop off into glory with her new career and her newfound fame. And life was supposed to be lifing. And then she woke up. Yeah. So you see Miss Eggface here? This is someone that wears multiple faces, or someone that has issues with identity, not knowing who they are, how they want to be seen, how they want to identify. Also being shown to the public that, at any given time, you can snap on one of these Polly Pocket faces and she can be what you need her to be. So he brought that to an end where she can kind of maneuver and control the narrative by, you know, um, portraying whatever needs to be portrayed and putting a face to a narrative, whatever face needed to be used at the time. I'll spin it however it needs to be spun and help you to see him however you need for him to be seen by the public. I control the way people see him. I help to control the vantage point of how he's seen. So it feels like she hesitated in the beginning. She didn't know if she should take this. And she also wants people to be hesitant with listening to him because remember, this was just his imagination once again running away with him. So it's like her success is waged on people not supporting him. People feeling like what he said is just, some shit that he just talking out the side of his neck. But it's like now she's ostracized. She's lonely. People are stepping away from her because the damage is done, that she did everything they needed her to do. We don't need anything else for you or from you. It's been real, deuces, exit stage left. The production has now come to a close. So you got stubbornness here and third wheel. So you got a lot of people who are not going to want to believe that she was a third wheel, or they don't want to listen to the idea of what actually happened that night. Like people are. This is going to be one of those situations where people are just going to feel how they feel, and you're going to have to let them, whether you agree with it or not, because this situation evokes so many strong feelings in the worst way. It's a bunch of hurt men and hurt women projecting a lot of hurt on people that they are, instead of dealing with and healing from, they're projecting things that are internalized. So a lot of people are not going to look at this objectively on either side. I don't care how you slice it, because there's too many emotions and too many feelings tied into this. And some of these people are going to be very stubborn to reject the narrative that she collaborated. They're going to want to listen to her until the wheels fall off. So imagine she's writing this out knowing that her days are numbered. Any day can be her day. And the people who are fighting to support her, they don't know that any day soon, everybody's going to have a day of reckoning, because this is going to have to be addressed. And it's like now it's like fighting against the commitment, disturbance. Because remember, disturbance can come in several times, several different ways. So it feels like the disturbance that's getting the best of her is the disturbance that, she perpetuated on him. He was drinking, he was out of his mind. He did all of the, XYZ, whatever, due to his habit. Now the universe is like, oh, okay, so you're holding him accountable for something that he done allegedly while drinking. Well, what about this monkey on your back? Shout out to George Michael. Anybody who remembers George Michael, go to your playlist on your Apple Music and play Monkey. If you're not old enough to know this song, still go to your playlist and play Monkey. Um, Monkey was a song that George Michael wrote, and he produced the video while he was on tour about a very close friend of his, a female friend of his, who had a very rocky relationship with substance abuse, and he was begging her to get the monkey off her back, to release the addictions, the habit, right? The chorus, matter of fact, let me show y'all, because we gonna read the lyrics today. If you're new to me, I channel a lot of music. If you're, used to me, you already know what to do. But we go to the lyrics so that we can see what exactly is being said, so we can understand the channel in its full totality. Okay, George Michael. Of course, he comes up first. So, not playing the song on here, at least, I don't need them striking my video for music. Why can't you do it? Why can't you set your monkey free? Hold on. I'm just going to have to play it so this can light up. Why can't you set your monkey free? Always giving into it. Do you love your monkey or do you love me? Why can't you do it? Why do I have to share my baby with the monkey? Monkey, monkey. Oh, how I count to 10, but I don't know how and I don't know when to open my eyes. So this is like someone who's unpredictable, someone who whatever the substance is that they use, they get on this substance and you don't know what you're about to get. Ooh, okay. So people who accused him of having issues with substances or doing what he did due to being under the influence of substances now have to face the monkeys on their back. They're going to be exposed for their monkey. Got it. I remember the song, but I know I can't sing on here, so I had to, play the words. And people are indulgent. They're overindulging. So it's like fighting against taking accountability for how you indulge. And this was an accident. Okay. So it feels like Megan Cunningham has had some situations that she hasn't taken accountability for that are tied to how she may indulge, that may have resulted in something that she didn't mean to happen, an accident of some kind, allegedly. Explain idea to me. So here it is, marionette, which represents the puppet, which is like middle management or the monkey in the middle. And remember, I said people's monkeys are getting exposed. So you got a monkey on your back and you're the monkey in the middle. And somebody decided that they would use you as their puppet, the monkey in the middle, because this was a part of a ritual. They needed you to do your part so that they could pull this off. Because remember, they had to control the narrative of how Tory was seen. So at any given time, they needed to be able to put a face on the character of this person. And this was her job. allegedly. Self-love. So this is going to be a hard lesson for her, because part of why Tory wouldn't have been in this situation had he have let the big head make the decisions that the little head, obviously shouldn't have been making. It would have kept him out of trouble, but this happened as a journey of self-discovery and self-love. Megan Kenneth being torn down by being exposed is her beginning to a therapeutic journey, to where she's going to have to take accountability for certain things. And it's going to be a very hard pill to swallow, because this is going to be, what's going to bring her into submission, to have her dark night of the soul, her hermit moment, and start the journey of self-love for her. Alrighty. Now let's go ahead and tap into this last energy so we can close this out. And y'all can see this at, at least, before, lunch. Or you can watch it during your lunch hour. So, okay. The Marchetti Tarot. Let's tap into the energy around how Meg and her legal team feels about Tory's accusations and this album, Peterson. How do they feel about this? Will they retaliate? How do they feel about this? Judgment at the bottom of the deck, the death card. There may be some tension, allegedly, between Meg and her lawyers. Somebody wants to bring this to an end. Now, if you pay attention, because I told all of you in my live on Wednesday, pay attention to the moving characters, okay? If you see the same character more than once, that is like a precursor to where things are about to go. It's like being on the highway and you see a mile marker. So remember I told you that angel that appeared to just be stoic in that vampire deck was only there to take an account of what happened, to take the minutes and to report it back to the heavenly headquarters so they can put everything in the book of life. Well, here's that angel popping up again. Remember, I told you a decision had to be made, and that's the only way the angel could go back to report, because how is the angel going to report everybody's karma before they made the decision? You have to go back with the action to be able to decide what the charges are going to be and if they meet, fit, or exceed the crime. And then once that is done, the charges can go out, people can be indicted in the spirit realm, and then whatever that indictment is turns into karma down here where we are, and we see it manifest in the 3D. So here it is, judgment. Somebody on her legal team, I don't know if they've had this decision with her yet, or they talked to her about this yet, or if this is behind the scenes allegedly, but it feels like they are listening to this album. Okay, y'all take a ride with me. I know y'all can't see me because I'm off camera. My eyes are closed and my spirit guides are showing me the vision of several different law firms. And all of these law firms are listening to the Peterson album and picking it apart. The one that is very thorough is going back to the DAYSTAR album and picking it apart, and then going back to the Peterson album so that they can be up to speed on what's going on. So all the lawyers involved are listening to this album, and somebody wants out. Somebody doesn't want to be a part of this anymore. It's becoming too big of a fish to fry. We came in here thinking that it was just going to be a fillet, and it turned into Jonah in the well. This is way bigger than we expected. Yeah, Ace of Cups. At this point, they got to consider everything that they love, everything that they have invested in their personal lives and in their careers and their integrity. So there can be some harsh communication behind the scenes about how to handle this, because this is very, very dicey. Okay, yes, it's an album. Yes, the album is not something that is on the record in court, but it very well could be if what's being said can be investigated and found to be in high standing. So this could end up turning into a roadmap for character development through character assassination. Now, whose character is actually being assassinated? This is the question. And this is what the lawyers have to prove. This is what they have to be able to come into the courtroom or the ring, because this is their ring, and be able to fight for. They have to prove who's actually being verbally assaulted. Did this break any rules? Did this go against any guidelines or stipulations of any legal proceeding that is in play right now? Five of Cups. Public humiliation, shame, regret, and it's aggressive. Like, they're having a hard time with this because this falls under freedom of speech, and there's nothing that's being said that could physically harm her, and that's not a good look for the lawyers. So now I can see why the lawyers may be deciding behind the scenes if they want to go forward with this, because remember, she wants him to come to court and testify. He just testified to the beat. So imagine how much worse this can get if he comes to court after dropping this album. For anything. It don't matter what he goes to court for after this, if it's attached to her. They have to think about how detrimental this is. If he was willing to put himself in jeopardy and say these things from prison, what type of, Pandora's box are we going to open if we get him on the stand? Yeah. So they're thinking about following their intuition on this one, with how they move forward with being her defense counsel, how they handle this situation. It feels like, allegedly, an offer can be presented to bring this case to a close, because they have to look at the bigger picture and the financial stability of the person that they work with as well. We've worked together very well with you, Two of Cups. This whole time. So this is a very stable lawyer. This lawyer ain't gonna miss no cases, ain't gonna miss no meals if they don't go any further with this case. But they're thinking about, should I just go ahead and bring this to a close because I don't need this to affect or stain my reputation? Or how do we push through and, actually get something favorable here with this case? Like I said, it's been great. It's like, we have what seems like a soulmate connection. But now that he's talking about the things that he's talking about, can we take a chance and put him on the stand if he's willing to say these kinds of things, as inflammatory as they are, on the stand, can any of the things that he's saying be proved in a court of law? And if any of these things that he is saying has an ounce of truth, I'm good, love, enjoy. I'm gonna leave this behind, and you when the dust settles, you figure out what it is that you need to do. But right now, it feels like they're investigating all the claims that were made. They want to see if there's any validity to his claims, if he's making this up, and then once they go from there, they'll figure out how they should handle moving forward in this case. But they have to vet the things that he said first. Two of Swords. Yeah, something that he said about, the passionate energy and the relationship between them. It's like the lawyer is like, yeah, I think I need to recuse myself. I need to step down. Don't change the lawyer. Don't change the judge this time. Change the lawyer. This feels like the private conversation. I don't think this has been had with Megan yet. This could be like a lunch meeting. Could be happening right now, because I want y'all to see this by lunch. So this could be somebody's conversation over in a nice fine dining restaurant where your water comes in a wine glass. Purified, okay? Yeah, Eight of Swords falling under death. Yeah, y'all. Allegedly, secretly, allegedly, secretly, her lawyers may know that his sentence is about to come to an end. Things are unraveling, and they're being very quiet because they want to put their best foot forward for the law firm. They have to think above the client now. So, baby, every man for themselves at this point. How is this going to affect the bigger picture? Yeah, better to. It's been real. We love working with you. We love being able to, fight for women's rights and all this progressive stuff that are great buzzwords and advertisement for the firm. But if we're going to take this any further, due to the nature of what's been said, we're going to need X, Y, and Z. So they want another retainer dropped up front, just in case this doesn't go in a direction that they want to go, because it feels like somebody is like, hey, it depends on how much money you have and how much you're willing to put on the table on how far we're going to go with this. And whatever this new retainer could possibly be could be very hefty, and that would lead to a Five of Cups for sure, because it's going to be very expensive from here. And this may be devised as a plan, allegedly, for the lawyer so that they can walk away from this situation. If we give her an astronomical high invoice that chances are she can't afford, she may drop this case, walk away from this case, release us, and then we don't have to be the boogeyman. We don't have to be the bad guy. Hey, she decided that she no longer wants to move forward with this, and it's been a pleasure working with you. So they may try to make her feel like it's her idea to bring this to a close, but either way, they don't want to do it anyway. It just depends on whatever the financial outlook looks like for what she can afford to spend. Alrighty, we keep having cards come out face down. So this is definitely letting me know that this is a conversation that has not been had yet, but could possibly be had between today and Monday. And that'd be messed up if they tell her this by the end of the business day today, knowing that she got to think about it over the weekend. AKA, I'll have my people call your people, tell you XYZ, think about how you want to handle this. Mull over it a bit. And call us Monday morning and tell us where you want to go from here. Told you money is a factor. Knight of Coins. 5 of Wands. It depends on what she can afford for how they're going to fight. If she's running out of steam, they're running out of fight. She's running out of, things to leverage or money to give, they're going to become lax. But it seems like this is a plan that's intentional because they want to step out of this anyway. They feel like there's, this is a powder keg and it's going to blow at any moment and it's going to be worse than they expected. So they would rather step out now before it gets worse. Or you've got to guarantee that you can give them something very tangible before they go any further. So either way, they're going to get what they need to get out of this. 3 of Wands. Hey, it's all about, what we can get out of this. Our ship's coming in. Yeah, the Chariot. So they're thinking about moving on intuition at this point. What is our intuition telling us? It looks like the intuition is telling us, hey, we got to be very careful how we move forward on this. So they're not going to be quick to move forward until they find out how to gauge how far she can go in court, because this can get very, very expensive. Yeah, choice has to be made. 2 of Wands, depending on what she can afford, lets it be known if this lawyer is going to stay any further. Y'all, look at this. Hold on. Because I want you to see it as I see it, because I read as I shuffle, not just what hits the table. The Star. The Star is an air sign in Aquarius. The Emperor is behind this Aquarius. So what we need you to do is go back to Boss and them over there, possibly whoever recommended you to me, and the both of you sit down and talk about this decision, what needs to be done. But I'm good, love. Enjoy. I'll speak to you on Monday, aka I'm getting the hell out of here. Because that way as well, if the person who recommended you to me, who is backing you, who is helping you through this, if I put the decision on the both of you, once again, it puts it on everybody else. So it's like this lawyer is throwing this hot potato around, expecting somebody else to drop it so that they don't have to be held accountable for walking away, allegedly. Now, I'm going to ride this out, but you need to count up how much cab fare you got. Yeah. 7 of Wands, which represents defense. This is defense counsel. Yeah. They may just tell her that they can no longer represent her and give her the offer to do what will look honorable to her, which is drop this case, release this case, let this case go and walk away before it blows up in your face and gets worse, because you have several other cases to worry about, and any other information coming out becomes public record for all these other cases. So we suggest that, if you can, simplify this for yourself and close out some of these cases, because you've got a lot on your plate in the next few months. Now, we're not going to talk about what case, what lawyer, but there is a lawyer attached to some case that is telling her that she needs to consolidate. There's a certain amount of money that needs to be handed over, and it's going to make her have to consolidate. What case do you really want to put your energy into? Because you've got a lot going on in all these different pots, but you don't have enough resources to keep all these pots going, allegedly. Yeah, choice has to be made. possibly by Gemini season, on how she needs to handle this, because sooner than later his sentence is coming to an end. And no matter what happens with his sentence, baby, you got to come up with that dough. So it looks like this, whatever happens is wagered on what the budget is. And there's a lot of gossip, a lot of communication now about what happened that night at the party. Is kicking up a lot of people to do their research, to go back and read through all the old paperwork. And this is a side of it that they don't want to happen, because people will go straight back to YouTube and they will start reading from the initial evidence. And all of this will happen while she has all these different cases. And it unearths a lot of information. And whatever is going to be unearthed, this is why she needs to consolidate and think about the bigger picture of how this is going to work out for her when it's all said and done. Because this is going to bring law enforcement in, and they're already investigating. King of Swords is like the higher courts, the feds, the ones that really, really matter. Don't get me wrong. You can get messed up in regular old circuit court, especially if you're in the ghetto district. But this is the big boys. So she's got something coming down the pike where the big boys are going to be getting involved, and she needs to put everything that she has into that case, because that case is the one that's going to take her down. She needs to go in a new direction, because something came out, something was discovered, Seven of Swords, and a backdoor card. Something was discovered that's going to rock her, the core of her existence. And that's where the finances need to go for her legal team and her decisions. Okay, so this is making more sense. Something so big is coming up the pike. She's going to have to figure out which one of these cases she needs to drop so that she can take all of her resources and funnel it into that case, because whatever that case is the one that's going to break her back. So it feels like this is the wish fulfillment for the lawyer. And if they can't get her to understand this, then it's going to be their wish fulfillment to go. And this is going to be heartbreaking. It's a hard pill to swallow, because when it comes down to it, it's do you want a bitter victory, or do you want a sweet descend? It's up to you how you want this to go. You can win today and lose every day after this, or you can lose this one and we'll help you win the one that's really going to change your life. Yeah. But before we go any further, how much more money you got to give? You got houses, you got cars. Let me see those grills. Let's discuss money. And that ended up becoming the bottom line. Do you or do you not have the money? And do you have enough money to spread around all these cases? If you don't, we need to eliminate some of these cases. You're going to have to take it on the chin, and we're going to have to funnel everything into what really matters, or we're going to have to walk away. Because if you lose these little ones, or let's say you win the little ones, okay? If you win the little ones and all that information comes out in little cases, even though you won, they become public record for the bigger case. And the bigger case is already the one that can break your back. So how about fuck this little case, okay? That's about pride. Take that on the chin. Because this other one is going to knock you on your ass. And you need all the resources known to man to get from out of this avalanche that we see coming for you. And to be honest, it doesn't look like we're completely prepared. So this is my energetic read and pull on the energy attached to Tory Lanez from DAYSTAR to Peterson. What a difference a day makes. This is definitely a lesson for all of us that the laws of reciprocity work. It may take a little longer for things to happen. You may not get your way in the time that you feel you should get your way, but all things in due time fall into proper alignment. So with that being said, y'all, much love. Everybody, have a wonderful day. If you haven't listened to the Peterson album yet, I think it's a great listen. I listened to the full project from beginning to end with no skips. I knew there were certain things that was definitely going to stir the pot because he went there. There was nothing that he wasn't going to say. So, yeah. Listen, check it out, see how you feel about it. You might not like it at all, but you definitely will understand how this is going to be one of the biggest albums of the year, because it's literally like someone standing in front of a keg of gunpowder with a lit match, and you're just waiting to see how far that explosion is going to reach and what all it's going to affect. Y'all, I'm finally done. I'm going to go and find me something to eat. Have a wonderful day, and I'll be in touch with y'all soon. Bye-bye. Whew, y'all. This was a crazy ride. Alrighty, let me go ahead and close this out. Bye, y'all.